The night my life changed forever began with the sound of breaking glass, and the voice of the man I loved telling me I should never have opened the file. My name is Elena Marquez, and the night my life changed forever began with the sound of breaking glass. The city outside my apartment window hummed with its usual noise. Honking taxis, laughter spilling from bars, the restless shuffle of a million strangers weaving through midnight. I had grown used to the chaos of downtown, but that night, the sound wasn't from the street. Came from inside my home. Froze. The book I had been reading slipped from my hands, landing against the hardwood floor with a soft thud. My heartbeat quickened, hammering against my chest as silence pressed in. I told myself it was nothing. Maybe the wind had pushed something off the shelf, maybe I had left a glass too close to the edge of the counter, but the air felt different, charged with something dangerous. I reached for my phone on the coffee table, my fingers trembling. Before I could unlock it, a voice echoed from the shadows of my kitchen. "You shouldn't have opened the file, Elena." My entire body went rigid. I knew that voice. It belonged to Adrian Wolfe, the man who had walked into my life 6 months ago with charm that felt like sunlight and a smile that promised safety. The man who had kissed me like I was the only person he had ever wanted. The man I thought I could trust. Now he stood in the dark of my apartment, his silhouette tall and commanding, his eyes gleaming with something that looked nothing like love. "What are you doing here?" I forced the words past my dry throat. He stepped forward into the pale glow of the streetlights spilling through the blinds. His expensive suit was unbuttoned, his tie loosened, as if he had come straight from some late-night meeting. In his hand, I saw the faint shine of something metallic, not a gun but a USB drive. "You weren't supposed to see what was on it," he said softly. "Not yet." My mind spun. The file. The USB drive I had found in his jacket pocket 2 days ago. I hadn't meant to look. Curiosity had pulled me in, and what I found had left me shaken. Contracts, offshore accounts, transactions that tied Adrian to people I knew only from news headlines about corruption and disappearances. I had wanted to believe there was an explanation, that the man I loved wasn't what those documents suggested. But seeing him here, his voice steady and cold, I knew the truth. "You lied to me," I whispered. For a moment, something flickered across his face. Regret, maybe, or longing. But it was gone before I could name it. "Elena, listen to me," he said, his tone low, controlled. "You were never supposed to be a part of this. I tried to keep you away from it. But now you've put yourself in the middle, and I don't know if I can protect you anymore." The words sliced through me. Protect me. That was what he had promised from the beginning. That was what I had foolishly believed every time he brushed the hair from my face or pulled me close in the dark. I took a step back. My hand tightened around my phone, ready to dial for help, but he noticed and shook his head. "If you call anyone," he said, "you'll be dead before the line connects." I stared at him, heart pounding. I didn't know if he meant it as a threat or a warning. "Why me?" I asked. My voice cracked. "Why drag me into this?" His jaw clenched. He looked at me as if the question pained him. Then he said, almost too quietly, "Because I fell in love with you." The confession struck harder than any threat. I wanted to scream, to demand how love could exist alongside betrayal, but before I could speak, a sharp knock rattled the door. Adrian's eyes widened. He moved quickly, shoving the USB drive into his pocket. His hand brushed against mine, not tender but urgent. "Don't answer it," he hissed. The knock came again, louder this time. "Elena Marquez," a firm voice called from the hallway. "We need to talk." My stomach dropped. That wasn't a neighbor. It wasn't a friend. The tone carried authority, and the way Adrian's posture stiffened told me all I needed to know. Whoever was at the door was here because of him. Adrian grabbed my wrist. "You have to trust me. Please." I looked into his eyes. For a heartbeat, I saw the man who had made me laugh under city lights, who had held me after my nightmares, who had whispered promises I wanted to believe. But standing in my apartment, caught between a man I loved and a knock that could destroy everything, trust felt like a luxury I couldn't afford. The knocking turned into pounding. The voice grew sharper. Miss Marquez, open the door now. Adrian pulled me closer, his breath hot against my ear. Choose, Elena. Me or them. The pounding on my apartment door shook the walls. Adrian's grip on my wrist tightened as though he could anchor me to him, to his world of secrets and shadows. Elena now. The voice outside barked, sharp and commanding. I yanked my arm free. My chest rose and fell in quick, shallow breaths as I looked between the door and the man I thought I had loved. Adrian's expression was raw, torn between fear and resolve. If you open that door, everything changes. You'll be pulled into something you don't understand, and they will use you against me. And if I don't? I asked, my voice trembling. His silence was the answer. The pounding stopped. For a moment the air was heavy, waiting. Then a metallic scrape sounded at the lock. Someone was forcing their way in. Adrian cursed under his breath. He pulled a small device from his pocket. Not a weapon, but a sleek black phone with no markings. He shoved it into my hand. Run, he whispered. If you ever loved me, Elena, take this and run. The lock gave way with a sharp crack. The door swung open, revealing two men in dark suits, their presence as imposing as storm clouds. One of them, tall and broad-shouldered, raised a badge that caught the dim light. Federal Bureau of Investigation, he said firmly. His eyes scanned the room, landing on Adrian. Adrian Wolf, you're coming with us. Time fractured. My body screamed at me to move, to flee, but my feet rooted to the floor. Adrian's hand brushed mine one last time. His gaze searing into me with something between apology and desperation. Then he turned, raising his arms slowly. You have no idea what you're doing, he told the agents. You're walking into a war you can't control. One agent cuffed him while the other's gaze flicked toward me. Miss Marquez, you'll need to come with us as well. The world tilted. I clutched the black phone Adrian had pressed into my hand, hiding it in the folds of my sweater. My heart beat so loudly I was sure they could hear it. I opened my mouth to protest, but no sound came. The agent stepped closer, his voice calmer now. We're not here to hurt you, but you've been involved with Wolf for months. That means you're already in danger. If you cooperate, we can protect you. Danger. Protection. The words echoed, tangled with Adrian's voice from moments before. Who was telling the truth? I nodded numbly, letting them lead me out into the cold hallway. Adrian's eyes met mine one last time as they pulled him away. In them I saw fire and sorrow, a promise left unfinished. And then he was gone. The next 72 hours blurred into a storm of interrogation rooms, sleepless nights, and questions that dug into every corner of my life with Adrian. The agent showed me photographs of men I had never seen but whose names carried weight in news reports. Politicians, corporate magnates, known criminals. Each name was linked to Wolf through financial trails, coded messages, and covert meetings. You were living with a ghost, one agent told me. Whatever you thought he was, the truth is far worse. But their certainty didn't erase the memory of his touch, the way his voice had cracked when he told me he loved me. I tried to hate him, tried to believe he was nothing but a liar, but my heart clung to fragments of a different man. On the third night, unable to sleep in the safe house they had assigned me, I pulled out the black phone Adrian had given me. It powered on without a password, as if it recognized only me. A single message flashed across the screen. If you want the truth, don't trust them. Meet me where the lights end. Midnight. My pulse quickened. He was in custody. He should have been unreachable. Unless everything I had been told was another layer of deception. The next evening, under the cover of a heavy rain, I slipped away from the safe house. Every step felt like betrayal. Of the agents who had promised safety, of myself for clinging to a man who had shattered my trust, but the pull toward him was undeniable. The place he had named was the edge of the city, where the skyline faded into abandoned factories and empty streets. I arrived soaked, shivering, my heart pounding against the storm. And there he was. Adrian stood beneath a broken streetlight, the rain plastering his hair to his forehead, his cuffs gone. He looked like a man who had walked through fire and come out burned but unbroken. "You shouldn't be here," he said, his voice raw. "Neither should you," I shot back. "They told me you were dangerous. That you used me." His jaw tightened. "And you believed them." "I don't know what to believe," I admitted, the words ripping from me like confession. "Tell me the truth. Just once. No more lies." He stepped closer, rain dripping from his lashes, his eyes dark and searching. "The truth is I never meant for you to be a part of this. But you are. And now, if we don't move fast, both of us will be erased." Lightning split the sky. In that instant I saw it, the weight of something bigger than love or betrayal. A war, just as he had said, one I had been thrust into without warning. "Choose me, Elena," Adrian whispered, his voice breaking. "Or walk away and let them bury us both." Thunder rolled across the city. My breath caught in my throat as I realized the choice wasn't just between him and them. It was between the life I had known, safe, predictable, small, and the dangerous, uncertain path of love tangled with treachery. I opened my mouth, ready to answer, when headlights flared from the far end of the street. A black SUV roared toward us, its engine slicing through the rain. Adrian's hand found mine, urgent and unyielding. "They've found us," he said. The SUV screeched to a halt, doors flying open. Figures poured out, their faces hidden, their movements precise. Not federal agents, something else. Something worse. Adrian pulled me into the shadows, his arm around me like both shield and prison. "Elena," he breathed, his lips close to my ear. "Whatever happens, don't let go." And in the chaos of flashing headlights and the roar of the storm, I realized the truth. The real danger wasn't choosing him. The real danger was that I already had.